Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we're reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 68. And we have, I think it's beginning with text number 14. Let me bring up the verse. Where's it? Welcome, everyone. So text 14 to 19. Sanchaiva tutan Rama Sannadhan Vishni Pungavan Naichat Kurunam Vrishninam Kalim Kali Malapaha Jangama Hasinapuram Rate Nanditya Varchasa Brahmanaiva Kula Vridischa Vritaschandraiva Grahai. Translation. Lord Balaram, however, cooled the tempers of the Vrishni heroes who have already put on their armor, so they're ready to fight. But he cooled their tempers. He who purifies the age of quarrel did not want a quarrel between the Kurus and the Vrishnis. Thus, accompanied by Brahmanas and family elders, he went to Hastinapur on his chariot, which was effulgent as the sun. As he went, he appeared like the moon, surrounded by the ruling planets. Text 16. Gatva Gaja Bhayam Ramo Bahyo Pavanam Ashtitaha Udavam Preshayam Asa Dhritarashtram Bubhutsayaha. Upon arriving in Hastinapur, Lord Balaram remained in a garden outside of the city and sent Uddhava ahead to probe King Dhritarashtra's intentions. Purport. Srila Prabhupada writes, when Lord Balaram reached the precincts of the city of Hastinapur, he did not enter but stationed himself in a camp outside of the city in a small garden. He then asked Uddhava to see the leaders of the Kuru dynasty and inquire from them whether they wanted to fight with the Yadu dynasty or make a settlement. Sho abhivanya ambika putram bhishma dronam cha bhalikam duryodhanam cha vidhit bad rama agatam abravit. After he had offered proper respects to the son of Ambika, Dhritarashtra, and to Bhishma, Drona, Bhalika, and Duryodhana, Uddhava informed him that Lord Balaram had arrived. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti points out that there is no reference here to Uddhava offering respects to Yudhishthira and his associates, since at that time the Pandavas were staying in Indraprastha. Deti pritastam akarnya praptam rama surhitamam tam archayitva abhiyayu sarvam mangala payanaha. Overjoyed to hear that Balaram, their dearmost friend, had come, he had first honored Uddhava and then went forth to meet the Lord, carrying auspicious offerings in their hands. Purport. In Krishna, Srila Prabhupada writes, the leaders of the Kuru dynasty, especially Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, were very joyful because they knew very well that Lord Balaram was a great well-wisher of their family. Surhit Tamam, dearest friend. There were no bounds to their joy upon hearing the news And so they immediately welcomed Uddhava. In order to properly receive Balaram, they all took in their hands auspicious paraphernalia for his reception and went to see him outside the city gate. In the last verse, text number 19, Tam sangamya yatanyanyam ga argyam cha nyavidam tesham yetat prabhavagya pranemu shirasa bhalam. They approached Lord Balaram, worshipped him with gifts of cows and argya as was fitting. Those among the Kus who understood his true power bowed down to him, and touching their heads to the ground. Purport. The Acharyas explain that even elders like Bhishma also bowed down to Lord Baladev. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadam Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Katanchana Smite Yasmin Dushkaram Sukaram Bhavet Vismite Viparitam Shat Shri Chaitanya Namamitam. So welcome everyone. We're in the middle of this Samba story where he has kidnapped the daughter of Dhritarashtra, as you're probably well aware of the story so far. Kidnapped the daughter of Dhritarashtra as doing what is called Rakshasa style marriage, or different types of marriages. One of them is called Rakshasa style, which involves kidnapping, which was often prevalent during the previous yugas for the Kshatriyas as a way to show their prowess. And this was very much to the upset of the family of Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. And so they took quite a large retinue of soldiers and great warriors. And in an unwarrior-like way, they took many great warriors and were able to capture Samba. And so here, Balaram is going to do a peace treaty. I mean, we find oftentimes we may try to do some kind of peaceful treaty, and we're not always successful. And we will see that Balaram's endeavor to be a mediator wasn't successful. The thing actually became quite heated. And even Krishna, he tried to mediate the discord between Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, and the Pandavas. And Krishna also was not able to mediate. And why is that? Because Krishna allows free will. Actually, this question is a question that has to be answered by all theistic traditions and any Vedantic tradition. What is the idea of, how does the all-perfect Satchit Ananda, perfect blissful, perfect knowledge and eternality, how does that exist if there is the material world, which is the opposite? It is full of miseries, it does not have full consciousness, full knowledge, and it is temporary. How can these two things exist together? So in the Christian tradition, they call this the problem of evil, or theosity, which is more of like a ethical concern. Like how is God ethical if there is trouble in this world? Either he's all powerful, but he's not omnibenevolent, he can't do anything about it, or he's all knowing, but he's not all powerful, he can't do anything about it, or he is omnibenevolent, but he's not all knowing, or he's not all powerful. One of these three things must be failing if the material world is if we find the trouble that we find in this material world. The Vedantic tradition takes it more on an existential basis. How can this exist if all Vedanta says there's one reality? There's one. It's all one thing. So how can this all perfect thing? How can this imperfect thing exist within the realm, within the existence of the perfect thing? And so there are different ways that this is dealt with. Different Vedantic traditions deal with the subject in different ways. Like, for example, Shankaracharya, he goes to explain that, well, one way to get rid of the problem of the material world being a bad place is just to say it doesn't exist. There's no material world. It just doesn't exist, And the example he gives is the rope and the snake. And so he says, a man comes out at night, he sees something coiled up by his porch, he screams out loud, because anybody who's in India, doesn't matter how macho they are, they're deathly afraid of snakes, because the snakes are deadly. In America, we might not be so afraid of snakes because we don't have such experience in deadly snakes. But I think it was in West Bengal, the second most cause of death was deadly snakes. I think the first was automobile accidents. And those who have been to West Bengal, yeah, you can know how crazy the driving is there. So he sees this thing coiled up, and then in the morning he wakes up and he looks at this thing that's coiled up, and he sees, oh, it's just a rope. And so, was it a snake? No. But was it not anything? He could not have he could not have reacted without having some kind of impression. So he says it's not real, nor is it unreal. This is anirvachaniya. It cannot be said by words. And so he presents that the material world is neither unreal nor real. It is achinsya. You can't understand it. It is inconceivable. And it's actually little bit different from the achinsya that is presented in the Chinsya Bheda Bheda Tattva philosophy of Lord Chaitanya. It is existential achinsya, that we're not even sure if it exists. Where Lord Chaitanya's achinsya is something that, yes, we're absolutely sure it exists, but it is beyond the human conception to understand the oneness and difference of the Lord and his energies. And so one example is like the kid has a fever, and the doctor, this is what Jayadvaita Swami gave in his lecture the other day about pros and cons of personalism and impersonalism. And he said that the kid has a fever, or if you have a fever, one way to make sure you don't have a fever is you just get rid of yourself. If you are no longer alive, then there is no more fever. So if you just say the world doesn't exist, then the problem of trying to explain how there is a material world, and then there's all perfect supreme personality of Godhead, or there's an all perfect Brahman, how do they simultaneously exist together? Well, they don't, because the material world just doesn't exist. And so what this does, it takes a thing that we actually have very clear understanding, a very practical, very straightforward, right in front of us, the material world, would make that inconceivable. And then you take the thing that actually probably be very nice to be inconceivable, and you make it to something very, very simple. God. It's just oneness. That's it. It's just oneness. So the thing that should be inconceivable is very simple and conceivable. The thing that should be actually conceivable, the material world, becomes absolutely inconceivable. So how do we understand this? Well, the rope and the snake, there's a few issues there. There's was it Ramanujacharya? He presents the seven untenable problems he has that he identifies with the impersonalistic philosophy. And some of them are referring to this rope and snake example. Jiva Goswami speaks about this in his Bhagavat Sandarbhas. So you only identify a rope for a snake because of their similar qualities. You don't see a rope and say, there's an apple. You don't say, okay, this is a rope. There is, my tea. There's my cup of tea. You only misidentify things that have similar qualities. So this material world, the I think it is called Abhas, is the conception of Sankaracharya. They say that we are superimposing this material world upon the reality. And the reality is that it's all just oneness. And so Ramanujacharya says, well, why do we impose a snake for a rope? It's only because they have similar qualities. Therefore, the rope, which is supposed to be the reality, is being mistaken for a snake because they both share similar qualities. Therefore, the material world and the spiritual world share similar qualities. And we only mistake a rope for something that exists. It's not something like, we don't imagine something that doesn't exist. We have something that exists in our consciousness, and therefore we relate the two. Like we can't imagine a square circle because it doesn't exist. So we only imagine things that do exist and transpose them together. Therefore, this material world is being connected to the spiritual world because they both exist and they both have similar qualities. So see, these are some of the arguments that are given there. So here we have Balaram, and Balaram is the Adi Guru, his original guru. How does Balaram teach us? Balaram is always engaged in service of the Lord. He came as Lakshman, and he was always engaged in the service of the Lord. There was only one time he had a little struggle. There was a few times as Lakshman, he was told, build a cremation fire. We want to prove, and this was to show the purity of Sita. But he was so hesitant with that. And also when it was Sita was asked to leave as well, this was at great pain for Lakshman. But Lakshman, he is the Adi Guru, so he is always engaging in service. But because of this, he told the Lord, next time, I'm not going to be your younger brother because younger brother has to listen to older brother. I'm going to be the older brother. But we see that even as the older brother, he's always engaging in Krishna's service. Who's massaging Krishna's feet? Isn't it usually like the younger brother is serving the older brother? No. You see pictures of Balaram, he's massaging Krishna's feet. But he doesn't just appear as Lord Balaram is serving Krishna as a brother, as a friend, even in a parental mood. He becomes the Dham. People put trash on the Dham, people spit on the ground on the Dham, and Balaram is happy that they're here to serve the Lord. This person may engage in the service to my Lord, my dear brother Krishna. And so Balaram is always eager to serve and to engage others in service. And that's the mood of the spiritual master. Therefore, Balaram is the Adi Guru. And so Balaram, he is appearing as Lord Balaram. Also, he appears as Ananga Manjari, the younger sister of Radharani, and assisting in that service as well, assisting in the Rasa Leela, assisting Radharani. She would never cross over the footsteps of Radharani. She was always devoted to Krishna and Radharani. And so Balaram is always engaged in service. And we see Balaram, he has this spicy mood. We find here in this purport, it describes that the Bhishma, certain personalities, although it is not customary, certain personalities, when they saw Balaram, it said, the Acharyas explained that even the elders, like Bhishma Dev, bowed down to Lord Balaram. So they did not, although Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram are appearing in this material world, and although they were taking this human-like form, and although they're taking human-like roles, there are certain personalities who understood and offered them the proper respect as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And here Bhishma Dev is being mentioned. One person who did not offer that respect was this disciple of Vyas. Who's this disciple of Vyas? He did not offer respect to Balaram. And Balaram, he's decided, although Balaram had At that time, he had he avoided the battle of Kurukshetra. He went on pilgrimage. He was like, I'm done with this fighting stuff. But he decided, okay, this personality, he has to go. This is he is presenting himself as very religious, but he doesn't have the respect to offer uh, his obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's Romaharshan Sutta. And so Romaharshan, he was given benedictions by the sages that he has a long life, strong senses, and great stamina. And he was going to speak various Puranas and such. And so he was seated on the Brahmasana, the Vyasasana, this great seat. And Lord Balaram appeared in the assembly, and he was there surrounded by, all these different sages are there, and everybody got up except for Romaharshan Sutta, because he was thinking, I'm, an important situation. I'm sitting on the Vyasasana. I'm representing something important. And Lord Balaram saw this as actually he is, this is hypocrisy. He's presenting himself as very religious, but he doesn't have the qualities of humility. He doesn't have it's like an actor who's just behaving in a just taking the role, but not actually having the qualities. And so Balaram, he takes a little piece of kusha grass and he just touches Maharshan Sutta, who immediately dies. And the sages are shocked, completely shocked at the situation. And they said, we just gave him a benediction that he would live long. What do we do? And so he said, I can bring him back to life. I can bring him back to life. I'll bring him back to life. And they're like, no. Keep everything as it is. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But there are a few things we can ask from you. Please, there's a demon who's defiling our sacrifices. Please get rid of him. Please establish his son, Sutta Goswami, as his successor, because the son is a representative of the father. So everything that was blessed to the father can be given to Sutta Goswami, who's very qualified. And please, as an example for others, you don't need to purify yourself, but it is example for others for this apparent offense. Please go on pilgrimage. And so Balaram happily accepted all these instructions. So you see, this is often the case, that we don't understand, don't respect great personalities. What to speak of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? We have what's this? Not Vishnu, what's his name? Who wrote Chaitanya Bhagavat? It's not Vishnu, Vrindavan Das Thakur. He's always saying about those who don't respect Lord Nityananda, Balaram. They're not going to actually be able to access Lord Chaitanya. So just like we have to offer respects to the teacher, the guru, the Adi Guru, Lord Balaram, and this way we actually become connected to Krishna. And so Balaram's mood is engaging others in service, and this is extremely exemplified by his form of Lord Nityananda. I don't know if you've ever been on the streets of New York and had a beggar come up to you and ask for something, but Lord Nityananda was going around begging. And what was he begging? It's like, imagine you go to New York City and there's someone comes up to you and begs, please, please, please take this gold. And then another beggar comes up, no, please, please, I've got a Ford Raptor, please take these keys, please, I've got a deed for a mansion, please, please take this. I have 20 Bitcoins, they're worth millions of dollars, please, please take this. And so this is Lord Nityananda. Instead of the blade of grass that he used to kill Roma Harshan, who was like an atheistic religious person, taking the role of a religious person, he has now put that blade of grass in his mouth in a very humble mood, and he's saying, please, please take Krishna's holy name, which is, of course, worth more than Ford Raptor and Tesla and Indeed and 20 Bitcoins. And he's going around begging. They saw Jagai and Madai, and Nityananda was in. Haridas Thakur saw them, and he was like, "I think it's time to go." And he was like, "No, this is our opportunity. If these guys actually become lovers of the Lord, then the mercy of Lord Chaitanya will really be expressed by if they take to devotional service, then this will be really expressed." There's some pastimes of Lord Balaram. Have his marriage. He was there was a king named Raivata, and he was looking for somebody who was qualified to marry his daughter Revati. He specifically wanted two things. He wanted someone who does not die. That's a kind of hard groom to find. Doesn't die, and also is full of all good qualities. So he went up to Lord Brahma's abode, and he was there. And in Lord Brahma's abode, at some point, there was an Apsara who started singing named Purvachiti. So Purvachiti started singing, and he's like, "Oh, this is my opportunity." So he went up to Brahma and said, "Hey, Brahma, this is my daughter. I was seeking your help as a matchmaker. Can you help me find a match for my daughter?" And Brahma said, "Shana, you've been here for like a few moments, and just one moment in my abode, one shana is equal to 4 yugas. So your entire dynasty is gone. You've left your planet, and millions and millions and millions of years have passed. There's not even a trace of history. But if you just wait one moment and come to Earth, the Lord Balaram will appear, and he will be the perfect match." And so Lord Balaram, the King Raivata arrived there, and she was from a different yuga, so she was quite tall, and so he took his plow and she brought her down back to the size of the people of that yuga. So this is a different. This is one of the pastimes. We also have the pastime of Pralamba. Pralamba was one of Kamsa's demons that was sent out to kill Balaram and Krishna. He was a little bit afraid of Krishna, so he decided to take Balaram. So he played on the side of Krishna. Krishna actually knew what was going on, so he said, "Let's have a game and have a wrestling match, and whoever loses will carry the other." And so in the wrestling match, this demon who was taking the role of a cowherd boy, he won, and therefore Balaram, he lost, so he had to carry Lord Balaram. His team lost, so he had to carry Lord Balaram on his shoulders, and so he ran towards Bandiravan forest, to the corner of it, and he was even running towards Mathura. He's saying, "I'll take him, and I'll take him to Kamsa. We will kill him there." And then Balaram is noticing, okay, something's wrong. We're not going in the right direction. We're not in the right place. And so he realized, oh, this is a demon. So he made his body very heavy. And the demon, it was so heavy that he had to actually transform into his gigantic mountain-like form. And then and Balaram even became even heavier. And this demon was so powerful, he was still running. And so Balaram gave him one strong hit in the head. And it says that his head practically went into his stomach. His whole body fell down, like huge, massive, massive body. And the effulgence of Pralamba merged into the body of Lord Balaram. Previously, he was actually what was it? It's described. He was actually a Gandharva named Vijay. And he was picking flowers in a particular place where the King Kuvera had actually made specific, it was called Raska amulets. He was making amulets out of flowers, and they kept on being stolen. So he made a curse on the land. Anyone who steals his flower will become a demon. And so that happened to this Pralamba, and immediately went to Kuvera, and he said he begged for forgiveness, and Kuvera said, don't worry, oh dear devotee, the Lord will appear and he will liberate you. And so this is, you have Balaram. What does Balaram carry? What's his signatory item that he carries? The plow, yes. So this is Karshana. So Karshana, plow is cultivating. And so Balaram, he is the cultivator of Krishna Bhakti. And once the anartas are plowed out, pulled out, the land is cultivated nicely, then comes, after Karshana comes Akarshana, attraction. So after the plow comes the flute of Krishna. So first you have sadhana bhakti, to cultivate bhakti, and then you have raganuga bhakti, where we become spontaneously attracted. So this is the plow and the flute. The field that's cultivated is our heart, and once it's properly cultivated, then we can come to raganuga bhakti. And so there's a little point here. Like Bilvamango Thakur, he was, once he got that nice cultivation, sometimes it can be a little, you see the plow digs deep into the ground. So Bilvamango Thakur, he was going to this prostitute, and she said something so strong, so deep into the heart, that it was like very, very strong. It actually it transformed. So we want this Guru Karna Dhara, this pulling of the ear, or the slap of the Guru, the slap of Lord Chaitanya, not Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. He says, "Hey, rascal, what are you doing?" Or even the kick of Lord Nityananda. One of those can actually wake up and just drive away everything. And we are encouraged to pray for the slap. And I'm sure most of us are actually fearful to make that prayer. I myself am. Oh Lord, yeah, don't give me some harsh lesson. Make sure it's always sweet and soft. But was it what's his name? Gaur Govinda Swami says we should pray for this slap. Pray for the kicking of Nityananda, Ram, Balaram. Beg for his mercy. Welcome it. Do not be afraid. And you also have Jiva Goswami. He used to play with dolls of Krishna and Balaram, and he would just fall asleep with them embraced in his arms. And he would, one time, actually, they appeared to him in a dream, and then they disappeared, and then Lord Nityananda appeared, and and then he woke up. He was in great ecstasy, and also ecstasy of separation. So a little pastimes of Lord Balaram. Let's look at the purport again. Two things I saw in the purport, was this the elders offering respect, and then also this pastime part where that you find that the Balaram was not able to mediate. So the answer to the question, why does the material world exist? It's because that free will. For even Lord Krishna, Lord Balaram, they will not force the living entity to behave in a certain way. He always has the free will. Jiva Goswami gives an elaborate example of the sun and its energies, but it's more elaborate than we're used to. You have the light that's within the sun globe as compared to the internal energy of the Lord, Radharani. Just like if you see the full moon, you don't have to say there's the full moon and its glow. It's one thing, Purnima. So that internal energy is there. And then you have the energy that comes out, that extends away from the sun. And that's considered the living entities, the marginal potency. And then you have the light that's reflected in the body of water, like a pond or a bucket. And that light of the sun, it looks like the sun is there, but then it looks like the sun has now become corrupted and affected. So the material world, it has this appearance of corruption and effect that it's affected. Like you can go and shake the bucket and you see the image of the sun is distorted, but it's actually, the sun is not affected. Only its energy is appearing to be affected. So this is the Achincha Beta Beta Tattva, that the extension of the energy is one with the sun and also different from the sun. So the sun is not affected. So although it is one thing, the one thing has not become corrupted. And so that's how this paradox is resolved. And that one thing is not corrupted. It's just that these energies are, the living entities are given free will, and therefore the material world is a facilitation of that free will. So we stop here, see if there's any reflections, comments, or questions.
Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, thank you for the class. Where was Lord Balaram during the Kurukshetra battle?
It was on pilgrimage.
Is it true that he had some sort of friendship with Duryodhana in that camp?
Yes, yeah.
Can you elaborate on that?
He was the mace guru. He taught Duryodhana was his disciple in learning how to fight with the mace. You saw Duryodhana fought with Bhima, and Bhima was so powerful, but Duryodhana was so skilled. And so that thus they fought for, I don't know how many days it described. I can't remember how many days they fought, but it was, or also, there's also, I can't remember who else, but yeah, they're very close, very, very close. And it's inconceivable. This is the Lord being associates with those who are antagonistic towards the devotees. And it's Krishna. Balaram is Krishna. Only difference is complexion. Balaram has his Rasa Leela. Balaram has his they're all the things that are there with Krishna, except for Balaram. He takes the pleasure of being the role of the servant. He becomes the abode, the shivas.
So Balaram scheduled his pilgrimage specifically to avoid fighting his disciples. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you find Krishna also, he avoided the war too. He just took the role of the chariot driver.
Yeah. No. Thank you. And there's another reflection I had, is to pray for the slap.
Pray for the slap. If you're brave enough. If you have, Govinda Swami is encouraging us to pray for the slap.
Sounds like a cool title for this class. Pray for the slap. Yeah.
I know. I have one old friend. He said Kunti's prayers. You know Kunti's prayers? Lord, please, bring the trouble. Bring the trouble. And that way I remember you. And so he said that prayer, and then he went out in book distribution, and the first person he approached, this lady, punched him in the face. Give me trouble. Give me trouble.
Yeah. Gopal Champu Prabhu once told us how he was in Harinam in Union Square. It's a wild place. The chess scene and all these local characters are there, the predominating deities of Union Square. And there was some prasadam left over on the plate. So Gopal Champu, out of niceness, out of sincerity, he approached one of those predominating deities and offered them some prashanam. He said, well, this is for you, some food, vegetarian food cooked with love. And the person spat in his face. And he said,
Oh my
do you think
God.
I'm a dog? You think I'm a dog? And the Gopal Champu Prabhu didn't take an offense. He was praying for the guy. He was laughing when he was telling this story. So this is the glories of devotional service, that the slaps aren't really bothering us much. You know, if Krishna is on our side, if we're doing our best trying to serve him on behalf of Srila Prabhupada, trying to follow our guru's order, then we may be slapped here and there, but it's kind of, you know,
That's
we
all.
can,
It's just surgical procedure. It's
yeah,
cutting out the bad things that we need. It's all for our benefit.
yeah, the brain surgery, the much needed brain surgery, where the surgeon is slapping you. Wake up, Jiv Jago. Hare Krishna.
Any other reflections, comments, or questions? Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Yeah, you raised a very profound question. Of course, your classes are just so amazing. You cover so much. But the question about, well, is this world real or is it unreal or is it temporary? And one of the things I heard and seemed to make it kind of clear is that, for example, we were going over the Manhattan Bridge and I was looking at all the different bolts and the rust and the dust and the cement, and I was thinking, how can this be completely illusion? There's so much detail. You know what I'm saying? I mean, is it, going along in the car, I'm just looking at all these, the construction and the powerful, heavy duty steel and cement and everything. And I was really praying to Krishna, what, is it temporary? Is it an illusion? Am I dreaming? And what Krishna seemed to tell me, and what I've heard before, is that the problem is not with the Manhattan Bridge. The problem is I'm thinking it's for my enjoyment, or I'm thinking it's for Krishna's service. So the creation is not imperfect, but you explained this already 3 different ways. But our perception of whether or not we're meant to use things in Christian service, whether or not I'm the center of the universe and everything depends on whether or not I like it or not.
Yeah. And that's Shankaracharya's philosophy, is that it's not real or unreal, but our philosophy is that it's real. It's Krishna's energy. And it becomes
we misperceive it. We misperceive it. We think it's mine.
If you see a wallet on the ground and you disconnect the owner of the wallet from the wallet, then that's called duality, that you're not seeing the union between the wallet and its owner. And so oftentimes in the Bhagavatam, Bhayam Dvitya, this duality is synonymous with the word ignorance or illusion. And so when we see the wallet in connection to its owner, then that's the proper state of consciousness. When we don't see the wallet connected to the owner, then we either neglect it or exploit it. We've either like don't care or take the person's money and cheat. So there's either an exploitation or a sense of neglect, renunciation or exploitation. But the actual form of renunciation is understanding its connection to the owner. So when I see this world in connection to its owner, then that's the proper state of consciousness. When I don't see it, that's called duality. And I think that's the second verse of the Chatur Shloki of the Bhagavatam, is saying that matter is when we see it separate from the Lord. That's when it becomes matter.
Okay, we got it. Conscious.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Shri Radha Murlidhar ki, Shri Gora Chandra ki, Radha Murlidhar Dham ki, Jila Prabhupada ki, Go Premanande Hari Hari Bo.
Progress. Guys,
Shri Radha Murida Gaur Chandra Sama Bhagavan Ki Jai. Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. I was looking at Shri Radha Muralidhar, Shri Guru Chandra, and asking them to slap me, but not too hard. Slap me, Krishna, but not too hard. I made a little amendment to Guru Govinda Maharaj's prayer. I hope it's okay with Nitai Chand. Oh, he's not there. Okay. All right, welcome to the Afterglow. It'll be a miniature Afterglow. Only, what, eight devotees? No, 10. 10 devotees. But Jeffrey Eckler counts as 2 devotees. So that's a good thing. Jeffrey Eckler and his super soul. That's 2 devotees. Okay, any reflections?
Hare Krishna
Questions?
Prabhu.
Jeffrey Prabhu, go ahead.
I was thinking, I don't know that I've ever heard a Chincha Beta Tapa, Beta Tapa explained so clearly, except for this morning. That was a very erudite explanation of that philosophy, and so like laser specific. We're very blessed to have Nityananda
Jeffrey,
Chandra.
can you say it in some, just in your words, just not to put you on the spot? You can say no.
Well,
Say
love...
no, Jeffrey Eckler, before it's too late.
I don't want to step on how he said it. But the rope and the snake, and then how he spoke about the real and the unreal, and the perception of the real is not possible, or the perception of the unreal is not possible without the real being somehow the unreal being somehow referential to the real. And so like that understanding of like, oh, the world's a mirror or reflection of the true reality, is always sounded kind of flowery to me, but he really gave it a philosophical edge that made it make sense, in that that reflection isn't possible if it's not reflecting something. So you can't see the reflection, or you can't see the sun in the bucket if the sun is not there. And that is very comforting, in a way. It's like you're not just seeing the sun in a bucket. You're definitely seeing something, although it may be distorted. And so that's beautiful. And so I'm grateful for that. And also, today is the beginning of my 48th rotation around this universe in my current body. So I'm going to enjoy that.
Happy
today.
birthday, Jeffrey Eckler Prabhu. Dear devotees, you're supposed to fast till noon.
Happy
Or at
birthday.
least fast till breakfast, at least, for Jeffrey Eckler's birthday. Jeffrey Prabhu, thank you so much for your steadiness, for your personality, for the wisdom you're bringing in, for your
I don't know about that, Prabhu.
For your erudition. Thank you.
Thank you for this community, and thank you for being there every morning. We appreciate you. Haribol.
Jai, Hare Krishna. Adipusha Prabhu, you were willing to say something?
Well, we're just scrambling and around the subject of what's real and what's not real, and thinking that this world is not from my enjoyment, that's the misperception. And then he said that analogy about the wallet. What about the wallet? You see a wallet and you think it belongs to this other person, but actually it belongs to Krishna. Do we give it to the person who thinks it's his, or do we give it to the person who it really belongs to? Kind of an interesting quandary. What is real, and how do we rectify the how do we rectify the misperception, and how do we see it correctly? And devotional service solves everything. And Shastra Chakshus.
Are you in the elevator?
Intelligent, and we know what to do.
Are you in the elevator, Adipusha Prabhu?
Yes.
Okay. Of all places, you chose to speak while you were in the elevator.
You can hear me now, right?
Yeah, now I can hear you. It was a little choppy towards the end, but we got the point. Everything belongs to Krishna. One time, Srila Prabhupada went to Australia for the first time to visit his disciples there, and they were greeting him at the airport, and they hired a Rolls Royce to pick Srila Prabhupada up from the airport. And there was a discussion, is Rolls Royce real? Is that too opulent? Is that appropriate to greet a renounced sannyasi in a Rolls Royce? And Srila Prabhupada explained that the guru is not God, but he's as good as God, and everything belongs to God. And he said, therefore, Rolls Royce, what is it? A bunch of bolts and iron pieces and rubber. Krishna is riding a golden chariot. So, and we're supposed to treat our spiritual master as good as God. Therefore, Rolls Royce is not enough. That's the attitude. We take a Rolls Royce. If that has to be a Rolls Royce, we'll take it and use it in Krishna's service and make it very real. Otherwise, it's just a a piece of junk if it's not used in Krishna's service. Hare Krishna. That's a little anecdote from Srila Prabhupada to illustrate the point. Gauranga Lila is unmuted.
Go on. What you say?
We always
Gauranga Lila.
take Krishna's stuff, but we never return them. But Krishna still keeps giving us like things that could help us. But we usually, because we're in mind, because we forgot it, Krishna, we keep rejecting the things that Krishna actually wants to give. So apparently all life we have been actually stealing Krishna's stuff, basically. Stealing like Krishna's money, stealing Krishna's like everything is for Krishna, but we keep stealing it.
Yeah, it's called theft of service. You receive a service and then you don't pay for it. You walk away. That's a theft of service, and police can charge you with a theft. So that's what we've been doing, Gauranga Lila. Thank you. So now it's a time to give it back. Time to give back. I'm offering Jeffrey Eckler to Krishna. It's his 48th birthday. Jeffrey, we thank you so much, really, truly, for your association, for your personality. I just can't
Hare Krishna. Thank you
appreciate
very
you
much.
enough.
Have a beautiful
Okay.
day today.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, who wants to be the finisher? Annabelle, why don't you be the finisher today? Say something to finish it off. If you don't know what to say how wonderful is Krishna, how awesome is Krishna, or say Hare Krishna, or roar like a Nrsingadev. Unmute yourself, Annabelle. Let's do it. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, Hare Krishna, Shrimad Bhagavatam, the king of books, ki jai, Srila Prabhupada, ki jai. Everybody on this call.